All right, time for another Fibble. This is the game that's just like Wordle, but on every row, one of the clues is a lie. They're showing us with Poppy, which is very interesting. Now, we've got the repeated letter thing. So this green here, if this is a lie, let's just assume that for a minute, right? Let's say it's supposed to be yellow. Okay, it's the lie because it's supposed to be yellow. Well, what does that mean? That means that this is then a lie, because if there is one P and it's supposed to be not, and it's in it, let's say there's a P at the end, right? It's not in the right position. The first one should be colored yellow. So if this is a lie, it's because there's no P. If otherwise, if there is a P in the grid, it has to be third. That's what I'm saying. If there is a P in the grid and it's not third, then both of these are lies. Unless there's two P's, right? If there was P's like this, no, because then both of these would be lies. But, right, so the only way you can have it is you either have to have two P's, in which case there's still a P there. Actually, you know what? Going through that tells me apple would actually work as a guess. But there's either a P third, potentially with a P second or fifth, or there's no P. But there's no way that this can be a lie, or this can be, yeah, this can be a lie right here. I think apple's a good guess. Okay. Well, clearly we know this can't be true, right? If this is true, then this is a lie. And then that means there's one P. Well, you could have two P's? Right. But then, again, this is the lie, and you have to put two lies. So, yeah, this has to be a lie. That can't be true. The yellow P can't be true. That's a lie. The rest of these are true. Now, again, but this could be a lie because it's green. So we only have at most one P. So this has to be true. Either there's a P third or there's no P at all. There is an E. If there is a P, then we need to have an O or a Y. O-P-E, something like this. We could do Hoper, and we will hope that that's right, or gets us some information at least. Okay, well, again, first and third, one of the P's is, well, again, we know this is the lie, right? But either way, we know the O's are true. Also, because one of the P's is a lie, so that was definitely true. But because this is a lie, we know the rest of those are true. So it's E-R. So it could be P-E-R, but then the H would have to be second. And I don't think that's going to work. So I don't think there's a P. I think there's no P. This is a lie. This is true. Okay. So, something like this, something like cheer. Cheer would work. Okay, well, we know the E is the lie, so we get all of this. So it's H-E-R. Is that right? Okay, usher. Usher. There we go. Very nice. Okay. It's funny. It says you won. It was Usher. It's like you're playing a music trivia game or something, and you recognized Usher's song. All right. Well, it was a little weird. It's always weird when you have the multiple letters, and you know, I knew what was going on there, kind of with the P, but sometimes it's hard to explain it. I try to explain it for people who may be unfamiliar with the Fibble, but I'm not sure if I made it more clear or less clear by trying to explain that. But either way, as usual, having multiple of the same letter and getting a clue in kind of the middle of the options definitely gives you a lot of information. So got it in 4 and not too much trouble today. So let me know how your solve went. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more.